Hi, I'm Chloe and welcome to Bible Stories. Today's story is about a girl named Miriam. Are you sitting comfortably? You are? Great, let's begin.
Bible Stories.
Many years ago, a new king began to rule over Egypt. This king was a very mean king, and he did not like some of the people who lived in Egypt who were called Israelites. The king said, "There are too many Israelites living here. We must make plans against them, or they will grow in number and in strength." And the king did not want that. So the king made some new laws to make life hard for the Israelites. He made the Israelites work as slaves. That meant they had to work harder and longer and harder, and the Egyptians didn't even say thank you. But the other rule the king made was worst of all. The king commanded no Israelite boy will be allowed to live in Egypt. Oh dear, the Israelites did not like that rule. This is where Miriam's story begins. Miriam was one of the young Israelite girls living in Egypt, and her mother had just given birth to a baby boy. Miriam's mum saw how wonderful the baby boy was, and so decided to hide the baby from the Egyptians. She managed to hide the baby for 3 whole months, but when she could no longer keep him a secret, she made him a basket and put him on the river. Miriam's mother was very sad as she left the baby in the cold, wet river. But Miriam wanted to see what would happen to her baby brother. "I'll watch the basket as it sails down the river," she thought. Not long after that, the daughter of the king of Egypt came to the river to take a bath. Even princesses have to wash and smell nice too, you know. She had just reached the river when suddenly she spotted the basket with the baby inside. She saw that the baby was crying, and she felt very sorry for him. "I can't leave this baby alone in the river," she said. "But I can't look after a little baby. They're too messy and too smelly." Miriam was still watching nearby, and so she went up to the princess and said, "I know a woman who can help you take care of the baby." Miriam must have been very brave to talk to a real princess. So Miriam ran home to get her mother. Miriam and her family looked after the baby until he was old enough to live in the palace, where the princess adopted him as her son and named him Moses. And so, for many years, Moses lived in the palace, living a life of luxury with servants and gold and as much food as he wanted, whilst Miriam was still a slave in Egypt, working day and night. That's not exactly fair, is it? Life was very scary for Miriam. She was very poor and was treated like a slave, literally. But Miriam had courage and she trusted that God had a plan, even though life was very hard for her. Years later, God gave Moses a very special rescue mission to save all the people who were slaves in Egypt, and that included Miriam. During this time, Miriam stood by Moses and helped him with God's rescue mission, and together they saved all the Israelites from Egypt. Wasn't Miriam an amazing sister? She bravely helped save Moses when he was a baby in the river, and helped Moses even after she had been a slave for many years. God wants us to be brave and courageous like Miriam too. Remember to trust in him even when things aren't going your way and life is hard. You can do anything when God is with you, just like Miriam. Thanks for watching. See you next time on Bible Stories.